Hello there. Welcome back to another video. I've got a lot to say about this movie. Got a lot to say, but before I do, just go and hit that like, subscribe button. We're almost at 800 subs. I don't know what happened in the last week, but we've gained almost 20. I can't find the video that's doing that for me because the last two that I put out, they're kind of doing the same, so I don't know. But I appreciate it. Appreciate the new support. We have a new movie podcast that just came out called The Chocolate Broadcast. Link will be down in the description below. Also, there should be the latest upload. It should be the one before this. If it's not down there for whatever reason, I forget. And yeah, so I guess I'll go and get to that real quick too. It's just kind of covering like movie news. I got like a topic of the week, stuff like that. It is going to be reformatted. So if you watch the first episode, you're like, damn, he's talking about the news for like 40 minutes. We're not doing that again. That wasn't supposed to go on that long, and I do apologize. I plan on actually getting reformatted, so we're probably gonna do topic of the show first, maybe have just a couple news stories towards the end. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into people we meet on vacation. So I know that on the book talk, on the booktube, if you watch people like Haley Pam, you know, people like that, right? Most female booktubers, you know, they pretty much know, this is no offense, they pretty much just only read romances, right? I've got a friend who reads books, and she, you know, will dabble every now and then into this and that. But like, if they, pretty much from what I've seen, once again, no offense, if they read anything fantasy, it's something like Sarah J. Maas, right? Where we're getting into, what are they called? I have them down here. The Court of Thorn and Roses. Have not read those yet, but like they'll do stuff like that if they get into fantasy or whatever, like maybe Fourth Wing or whatever like that. But they pretty much just, it's still stick to that romantic category, right? Where there's something romantic happening. So they read like a lot of Lynn Painter, a lot of Emily Henry, people like that, right? And so I know who these people are. I actually have a Lynn Painter book. It's actually over here, Happily Ever After. Never read it. I plan on reading it this next upcoming month or so. But I have never read an Emily Henry book, and I'm telling you right now, after this movie, I'm actually thinking about it. This movie was kind of gas. I know, gentlemen, if you're watching this, no hate, no shade, do not come my way. I'm speaking my truth, okay? So this movie stars Tom Blyth, and is her name Emily Bader? I think that's her name, as Alex and Poppy. And basically, Poppy's kind of like, you know, she's working for like this you know, column type thing, like where she basically gets sent to go on vacations for a living. So like every other week, she's like literally going to like Cabo, going to like Paris, you know, whatever, and Greece and stuff like that, just like going all over the world, and she's like writing columns about it. And as the story progresses, you start getting these flashbacks where I think they go back from 9 summers, and they basically just keep going back and forth. Because they're showing you something that happened with her and her best friend Alex. And Alex is played by Tom Blyth, and you meet him because he's giving her a ride to where they both live, because they live like in the middle of nowhere in this small town, I believe in Ohio. And she doesn't really like that. Clearly, that's why she took the job she got, because she always wanted to travel, stuff like that. So it's like her dream job. And he's just kind of like, hey, there's nothing wrong with this small town, right? And they end up becoming so close and platonic friends that they decide to take a trip every single summer. You know, they take like a week off of work or whatever, and they go on a trip. So like, you know, they'll go to like New Orleans, or like they'll go to Tuscany or somewhere like that, right? And that is kind of the plot of the movie, because his brother is getting married. And she ends up going because she's clearly still got feelings for him and stuff like that, because something happens, you know, we won't spoil that, but something happens between them, as you can tell. And they still kind of got that little chemistry going on there, right? Maybe we ain't platonic after all. I said, oh, shit. And so I watched this movie with my little sister, and we had a blast. And I honestly want to say, too, just giving preface for people that I'm sure kind of like, oh, it's just cliche, whatever, it's not. I had more fun because of who I watched this with. This was so epic. We don't really get to watch movies one-on-one, so this was awesome for me. I was sitting here watching this, didn't really expect a whole lot. You know, like I said, never read an Emily Henry book before. I have seen the cover of this one. I know this one's very popular. Like where they're sitting like on like the beach and stuff like that. But this movie really surprised me, because is it cliche, kind of like a Hallmark movie? Yes and no. It's actually not as cliche as a Hallmark movie. It's very well written. I feel like in some of their dialogue, some of them can be cheesy for sure, especially towards the end. I'm like, all right now. And I do think they do that cliche thing where, like, you know, we kind of got together, but it's like, actually, and like, I hate when romances do that. But outside of that, and those are like, I feel like minor complaints for me, this is a really fun movie, especially like when they go on the trips, like you get to see them having fun and having them bond and stuff like that. And also you get to see, before a romance even really blossoms, just a platonic friendship for a lot of these trips, and it's really fun. You get some really funny scenarios. I actually thought this movie was really funny. There is a scene where Tom Blyth goes skinny dipping. He never does that, by the way, which is extra funny. And he drops his clothes pretty much right at shore, so they end up going out to sea, and he's butt naked. So he's like trying to find clothes, and like stuff like that was pretty. I feel like natural in the comedy, because it's like, oh shit, that could have happened. And I really saw a lot of myself in him, because he's pretty much like a stoic guy, right? Like he would have never done skin. I'm not doing that shit. And he was like, I ain't gonna do this, but he went on and done it. And you see what happened. What happened when he gave in? And you know, Poppy is kind of like his exact opposite, right? That's what they mean by opposites attract. She's just goofy. She's quirky. Her parents are the same way. They're like very loud and very goofy. And, you know, I feel like for the first like 10, 15 minutes of this movie, I was like, dude, she's like annoying as hell. And I actually was kind of like, I don't know about this movie. But I'm telling you right now, I don't know if it was the movie. I, once again, don't know if it was the company I was with. Poppy grew on me. I was like, damn, I see what Alex is seeing, bro. I said, she growing on me. I was like, dude, I would like to be her best friend, dude. Like, she's chill. She's got a vibe to her. She's always, like, happy. You know, you know those people, like, you always talk to, where, like, they're always saying something negative. They always got something mad about something. Like, they can win $1 million and complain about how they're going to take $300 out from it for taxes or some shit. Like, they always have something to complain about, right? And so, you know, she's just kind of the exact opposite of that. And so it was nice to have a main character who was kind of like in that positive energy, right? Like I said, you do get a lot of the cliche stuff. You do. And so if you don't like that, you're not going to like that. And I don't really like that. But like I said, it just kind of clicked. It just kind of worked for me. So I do want to be forward in that, is that, you know, I feel like whenever you grade movies, right? Like whenever you're watching a movie, I feel like you automatically grade comedies and romances. This happens to be a mix of both, but I feel like you kind of grade those a little bit differently, because you're going there for different things. Like comedy, I'm going there to laugh. A romance, you're going there to see a good romance. And I think this is a pretty decent romance. I think it's got pretty good performances from the lead characters. Tom Blyth, I really do like him. My first time seeing him in anything was Hunger Games. I started going back and watching him, and what's that show? Billy the Kid. Thought he was pretty good up in that. And so I really like him as a performer. I've never seen the other actress, the one that's playing Poppy, in anything before, but she was really good in this movie. And I really think that their chemistry carried this movie for me. Like I said, like when they go to certain places, like when they're going to Canada, when they're going here, going there, it was awesome. I thought it was cool. I really had fun with this movie. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it is definitely one of those movies where you're like, I see why those book talk girlies, why they're going out there, getting that Emily Henry, why they're out there going, it's that, why they're bypassing those dungeon crawler Carls, while they're getting away from those Stephen Kings. I understand now. I was like, is every book like this? I had a blast. We had a blast. We were clapping. We were out here cheering. I was like, dude, I'm having fun. You know, me and my little sister, like I said, we had so much fun watching this movie, and I feel like it's going to be a memory that's going to be stuck in here forever. So even by the end of the year, where I'm sure this is going to be middle or lower, whatever, this and that, by the time I watch, you know, stuff like The Odyssey, stuff like Spider-Man, whatever, I'm sure I will always remember this movie because of, you know, how I watched it, the circumstances. So with that, I think I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. I actually really enjoy this movie. Like I said, don't know where anybody else is on this. I just was kind of leaving this like, wow, you kind of like that, didn't you? I'm going to be honest with my audience. So I'm going to let you guys know I actually really like this movie. Had fun with it. And I definitely recommend it for like a little date night. You know, you got your girlfriend over, got your little wife or something like that. Maybe y'all got time dining or something like that. And y'all don't want to watch a crappy Netflix movie. Even on that topic, it's not like even like if I remove things that I liked out of it, I was like, it's just kind of filmed pretty decent. It's not like a shitty Netflix movie. And so, yeah, like out of all the awful slop I saw last year from, you know, streaming movies like that, I think this is definitely one of the better ones. So definitely recommend with that. Like, subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys on the next one.
Okay, you asked for this.